Today we're going to talk about the difference between the news in Singapore and the news in the US. And from that we'll draw a conclusion about how the people feel in Singapore reading the news and how people feel in the US reading the news. To start off with Straits Times, straight for the strait between Malaysia and Singapore, is the main newspaper in Singapore as far as I could figure out. And that was what I read commonly when I was there to catch up on local news and global stuff as well. So I've clicked here to Singapore for the local stuff. And if you see, there's a lot of information here related to the coronavirus, which is probably true everywhere. And here it's interesting. So one cleaner jailed, another fined, right? Okay. Oh, nice. Healthcare workers can get free tickets, warnings, a murder, more stuff going on here, you know. There's a manhunt. Oh, that's pretty interesting. Fake news debunked. They have actual fake news section, but it's all actually local stuff, including this one. Let's look at these more closely. So it seems like these people, they're named here, they're Singaporean. They say exactly what they did. Wow. Left home around 6:55 a.m., very precise. What happened? And the punishment is listed right here. 11 weeks jail. Huh, good. These people, they had a riot, they had a fight, they got arrested. There's a video there. They're still looking for them. And they put the photos out, so if people know where they are, they could call the police. This one? This was viral news a few weeks ago of a man hanging in a stairwell. And the police said this is actually not in Singapore. And it's very interesting because we talk about news, fake news, but we talk about things that are sort of big in impact, right? Things that are nationwide, worldwide, not just a little tiny local thing. Oftentimes, news does not get corrected. But here, they have a whole section focused on correcting that news. Let's move on to San Francisco Gate. This is a newspaper based in the San Francisco Bay Area. A lot of things going on here. So it talks about the Bay Area, right? And how some countries will maintain strict shelter in place and some counties won't. A lot of little things here. The Flynn case. Surprisingly, there's no crime report today. There's usually a lot of crime reports of, criminals doing this or that. Oh, here there's one. Man 18 arrested after allegedly hitting officer with car. Shutdown busting rodeo results in Newsom crackdown. Man killed by neighbor who was terrorizing him. Interesting. Let's see what this is. So he was a nuisance. A judge released him, though, Thomas. He threw a rock, threw a brick. They issued an arrest warrant, but he never got arrested. What happened? Ex-San Francisco building commissioner charged with fraud. Oh, yeah. Seems like we all knew it, right? A lot of fraud going on in the government. They basically think the public is a slush fund and just use everybody's money and enrich themselves. Paul Manafort released from prison. The coronavirus concerns. This is the 18-year-old man who was arrested after striking an officer with a car. They list his name here. He was in a stolen car. He fled. And then he ran away. Booked into the jail. Here it's talking about shutdown. And what happened when they flaunted the order? The county said a rodeo organizer refused the canceled event despite county requests. So it seems like nothing. I mean, they're saying that it may delay their reopening of businesses, but does that really matter to the organizer? Is that a punishment to the organizer or everybody else? Weird things in Connecticut. Then he stole some underwear. And a police dog met him, so he finally got arrested. This is actually from a while ago, April 24th. It's already May 13th. I guess there's no update because they didn't say anything here. Maybe it's a public service announcement. Let's look at international news. Okay, everybody's wondering what happened when the court gets involved. Obviously, Michael Flynn again, Trump, famous people's deaths. What happened to Elon Musk? I don't know if you heard, but he seems like he's going crazy. Breaks arm? That's ridiculous. Oh, I guess, doesn't know what happened. You had to listen to it. Talks about clean energy, how America is trailing in a clean energy race. Let's look at the Straits Times, International Edition. South Korea, some bad news, right? Auto industry. I guess Japan's gonna end the state of emergency. Bad unemployment rates. Some other content. It's very interesting to me coming back to the US and reading local news. SF Gate or CNN, Fox News, Washington Post, New York Times, LA Times, versus reading Straits Times in Singapore. I think the main gist of it is I felt very safe in Singapore. I don't feel safe here. Now, admittedly, nothing's happened to me here. I haven't seen any crimes. I hear reports. And in Singapore, you hear reports. But more than hearing reports, you hear what happens to the criminal. He gets caught. He gets sentenced. Done. Justice is served. In the US, many times, you don't actually see the outcome. Nobody follows up on what happens to the person who is accused of this or that crime. Many times, I presume, he gets off. And it makes the rest of us law-abiding citizens upset. Why do so many people just get off in the US? Seems like there's no justice. People may say it's censored, and I get what you mean. Singapore is not really censored in the same way as China. But the thing is, you have to know that the US is actually censored. You look at CNN or the major news organizations, many times they don't actually report stuff. One obvious example being this last presidential race when the Democrats were having their debates and Andrew Yang just didn't show up. He wasn't included. Look it up. Why? CNN just forgot? It wasn't on purpose? Many things in the US actually don't get reported. Why? I'm not clear, but it's censoring all the same. And in Singapore, you could visit sort of whatever websites, not like they're blocked. You could get news from all different sources. My brother made a comment that he doesn't like, reading the news because it just makes you angry and upset. And I think that's the thing. The goal of the news in the US is to attract eyeballs. Local news, worldwide news, it's all the same. And bad news, as we know, gets more eyeballs. News that makes you emotional. But more often it's angry rather than happy. In Singapore, though, you feel safer reading the news. You hear about what the government's doing. You hear about what the government has done. You have more trust that things are going to go fine. The irony is that in neither of the places were things bad, in what I could see. Life was pretty normal in Singapore when I went around. Life was also pretty normal in the Bay Area when I've gone around. I mean, today it rained when I was biking. That's about the only bad thing that's happened to me. But everything else is hearsay. News, in a sense, reported through other channels, not personally experienced by me. Maybe it's so dangerous in the Bay Area, but somehow I haven't been affected. Luckily, right? Even though I've been riding at night through the bad areas of San Jose. I think the big difference is how it views the government, how the newspaper presents the government, how people reading the newspaper perceive the government. And this all matters in things that require trust, like contact tracing, which I will be talking about soon. How it was in Singapore, and how it might be rolled out here, where we actually don't trust our government.